Again, for those of you who've just joined, the webinar is due to start in a couple of minutes, but we wanted to admit you so that you could watch what's happening live, the Inti Raymi Festival from central Cusco in Peru, before we start our webinar.
The festival goes on all day in various locations, starts at the Plaza de Armas there, the main square, and then it goes to the Church of Coricancha, and then it continues outside Cusco on the Plaza Sacsayhuaman. So it's quite a long festival, and but we couldn't follow everywhere. But this is the main start in Plaza de Armas. My colleague Fernando is in Cusco at the moment. He's our guide in Cusco, and he's filming this. He's going to give us a briefing on the significance of Inti Raymi, and he will explain a bit about this festival. But we wanted you to follow the events, the parade right from the start. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for anyone else joining, and then we will start and come back to Fernando in Cusco. You can see that it's quite an elaborate festival, and yeah, the people in mountains around Cusco place a great deal of emphasis on this festival. It's the festival of the sun. It's at the end of harvest, and it's the link with their ancestors, their Inca ancestors. A lot of it is, most of it, I would say, is actually spoken in Quechua. Is the language of the Incas. Fernando understands and speaks Quechua, and he will translate if there's anything to significance to translate into Spanish or English, and English he will do that. But most of the people in the Andes speak their local language, Quechua, as their first language. Fernando, is this the representation of the Incas?
Indeed, Pablo. Here we have the king saying hello. Right? You can see all these ladies carrying flowers, throwing in front of the king.
Very nice.
We're getting to the corner. We're getting to the end of the plaza. There's a lot of police actually here moving us. Here's the king, people carrying him. There are a lot of soldiers protecting him. One of the wives of the king is here. We have more people behind, soldiers. We're getting to the end here in the Plaza of Cusco.
Yeah. Okay, so we should start, and then we'll come back to Fernando. He will continue to film, so you can see what's happening in the corner. And I will. We will start. So we'll come back to Fernando. So hello everyone. Welcome to Veloso Tours, and thank you for joining the webinar on Peru. I hope that you will find it interesting, and it will help you to decide to visit Peru at some stage. The content of the webinar, we had a sort of preamble there with images from Cusco that are going on at the moment. But we'll have an introduction on Veloso Tours and an introduction on Peru. And then my colleague Nick Guchard, he'll take us on a journey through Peru from coast to mountains and the Amazon. I will actually talk about the Amazon and Arequipa and the Colca Canyon. Then we have a number of live links to guides and lodges in South America, in Peru, as you can see at the start. Then Nick will go through the itineraries, including the landmark tours, which are itineraries that include more than one country. And then we'll have questions and answers at the end. Now, I wanted to ask you to be patient with us if there are any delays or anything that technically doesn't work quite right until we can overcome. Because as you can see, we are very ambitious. We are becoming more familiar with the Zoom technology, and as such, we're becoming more and more ambitious with links to a number of remote destinations. For the questions and answers, I would ask you to send any questions to Berenice using the chat in Zoom, and then she will collate the questions, and at the end, we'll have a questions and answer session. And in Zoom, on the top right, you have a feature, and you should set it to speaker view. That would be the best way to watch the webinar. Nick will go back to Fernando to follow the Inti Raymi Festival when we come to Cusco, and possibly later, if, depending on what's happening in Cusco. So just buried us with that kind of ambitious attempt to follow these festival live. Veloso Tours has been operating for over 20 years. We focus on authentic experiences to go and see the real behind the scenes view of all the destinations that we cover. We specialize in individual tours. And in terms of uniqueness, I would say that we place a great deal of emphasis on the guides that we work with. You will see and be in contact with some of the guides that we use that would look after you when you travel. And we ask them to take you on anything that includes following your interests. So we ask you when you book to convey what your interests, your main interests. We send that to the guides, and then you will know who are the main guides that will look after you, that will be with you. They're essentially the face of Veloso Tours. We're not really going to talk much about COVID because the situation is changing all the time, and it'll be whatever it is when you travel. We'll convey those, whatever it is that needs to be dealt with when you are traveling. In terms of booking flexibility, the main item to be aware of is that you can make reservations. Everything is open in Peru. The Inca Trail is opening now, so at the beginning of July. And the main thing is that you don't have to pay a deposit until Peru is open by the UK government for travel in the green list. So you can make reservations as a sort of early registration and then pay a deposit when it's possible to travel, then pay the balance as normal at the time when you should pay the balance. Over the last year, we've produced a new brochure for Latin America. We've made numerous improvements to our website in terms of going through images, new images, and we've also created new tours. We've created a feature to download the itineraries, whereby you select your start date, and then you can see where you would be throughout the itinerary, which days and how long, and when you would be coming back. This covers all the itineraries on the website, Latin America, China, India, and that enables you to experiment with various possibilities. And then when you are certain of what you would like to do, you can contact us. We book the flights, and we send you precise, more extensive itinerary with descriptions of hotels, guides, excursions, and so on, flights, and a guaranteed price. Peru is a fascinating destination. We have here geographically, I wanted to point out, we have the Amazon basin, very close, a very short, very steep drop from the mountains to the Amazon basin, and the desert on the coast, all within a fairly short distance. So combined with all the culture, you will see that it's fascinating. Unfortunately, now there are no direct flights on British Airways, but there are flights every day with a number of airlines. We have Iberia via Madrid, Air France via Paris, and KLM via Amsterdam. And these allow you to fly from UK regional airports direct, so that you have one connection only. So it's very well served, Peru, by a number of airlines with flights every day, allowing you to do this sort of rather technical term of open jaws, where you can go into one destination and back from another, which is very useful when the landmark tours, when you combine in countries. You have a choice of cabins to, as you can see, economy to choose from, different seats, premium and business. So there's plenty of availability for travel to Peru. As I mentioned before, the combination of the geography and the culture. We're going to cover a little bit the north of Peru, where there are a number of pre-Inca civilizations that are not so well known, but they are fascinating. There's also a beach resort. There's a cold current that runs along the western side of South America, but that turns into the Pacific south of the equator. And in the north of Peru, we're actually quite close to the equator. So it's nice and warm and sunny. And there's some good hotels that we're going to show you. There's some wonderful train journeys, very efficient and very beautiful trains. So that combined with the architecture and the history of colonial heritage and the Inca civilization, archaeological sites, museums. It's wonderful for trekking in the mountains, whether you want to have trekking or just rambling in the countryside on day trips is wonderful. And we should mention Peruvian fusion cuisine, which is a combination of Asian, mostly Japanese influence over the traditional Peruvian cuisine, which has generated these wonderful, really high quality cuisine and dishes, and in very wonderful settings. There's been a number of investments in very nice restaurants in Cusco and in Lima. Some of the hotels, some are not. Most of them in Lima are not so much in the hotels, but that's also something to look forward to when you visit Peru, so you can try it. And now I'd like to ask my colleague Nick to continue with a tour of Peru, starting with Lima. So Nick, over to you.
Thanks, Paolo. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take you on a journey around Peru this afternoon very quickly. I think the screen has stopped sharing, so let me bring that up again.
Sorry.
Can everyone see that? Is that appearing now? Yeah, good. So to start with Lima, this is most likely the place where you will arrive in Peru. Lima is an intensely historical city. It's got a very long history. In fact, it was the capital of the Viceroyalty of Peru in the colonial period. And so you find many historical buildings there, wonderful historical center. But this also combines with the newer part of the city, such as the district of Miraflores that we will see a little bit more of in a minute, live from our guide there. The colonial era architecture, as I mentioned, really characterizes the central and historical part of the city. You can see these immensely ornate balconies and frontages of important buildings. But it also has, outside the city, a considerable pre-Columbian character. For example, these ruins at Pachacamac, which are just outside the city centre, an enormous adobe sort of mud brick pyramid dating to considerably before the Inca Empire. There are excellent museums in Cusco, for example, the Larco Herrera Museum, which happens to be my favorite. It really chronicles thousands of years of Peruvian history. You can see here the very ornate golden headdress worn by ancient societies, and there really is an excellent collection of all sorts of different artifacts, from textiles and weavings, headdresses, masks, and other kinds of statuary as well. As Paulo mentioned, there are cutting-edge restaurants offering fusion cuisine. This picture on the left here is actually the cafe of that museum, Larco Herrera, so absolutely worthwhile having lunch there after visiting the museum. But also some of the sort of top restaurants in the Americas and indeed the world are found in Lima, with this sort of fusion style, very innovative and unusual, combining the skills and processes of modern cookery with traditional flavors and ingredients, and as well as using influences from other parts of the world, such as Asia and Japan. Outside of Lima, there are a number of different excursions, for example, down into the coastal desert to visit the Nazca lines. These are enormous geoglyphs, sort of patterns and pictures painted into the desert, which are so large that they can only really be seen from aircraft above. And that's why the best way to see them is on a light aircraft flight like this. And it's still not understood fully how the prehistoric societies were able to make these patterns in the desert quite so carefully and accurately. You can also take a visit to the Ballestas Islands, which is a small cluster of islands just off the coast, not far from Nazca, so those two can also be combined if you spent a night there, with colonies of sea lions just there on the edge of the desert, as you can see, but also seabirds like penguins and pelicans. It's visited on a boat trip, and it's got such a diversity of wildlife that it's sometimes known as Little Galapagos. So absolutely worthwhile visiting that if you would like to get out of the city and see a bit more of the natural side of Peru. Now we're going to go to our guide in Lima, Marvin, who is broadcasting directly from there. He's our expert local guide, and he's going to show us some of the city and local life there. Hello, Marvin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, yes. Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Marvin Abanto. I'm an official tour guide specialized in Lima, and I've been working with Veloso for 8 years. Usually in my free time, I like to read. Some of the topics, well, my favorite topics are politics and culture. I love spending time with my wife and 2 daughters, and we have traveled around Peru, and actually they love it. They have traveled since they are babies. I think I'm a lucky person because I was born in a country with so much culture and interesting places. And in this amazing day, I have the opportunity to welcome you and show you a small part of my hometown, Lima. You'll arrive to our international airport named Jorge Chavez. After you go through customs, collect your bags, and go outside, I'll be waiting for you with a Veloso sign and your name. On our way to the hotel, we will check the details about your program, and if you have any question, I can give you all the necessary recommendations for you to get a great holiday here in Peru. After the check-in process in the hotel, we will have our walking introduction where I will show you good options to eat. Maybe we can exchange some money too. It's also good to get some local currency, especially the first and second day. And also, I will show you, I can mention you places we can visit. Now, for example, let me show you. Right now, I'm in the main park of Miraflores, known as the Kennedy Park. You can see all the green areas there. The yellow building in front of us is the municipality of Miraflores. It's the place where the mayor of this district works. By the way, in Lima, we have 43 districts. Now, you know that the world has changed in the last year, and Lima was not the exception. Now, many people now went back to the best way to move around the city, which is a bicycle. It's amazing the number of bikes that we have now. Of course, more bike lanes were built in the city, and other modern ways have arrived too, such as scooters, hoverboards, electric motorbikes, or bikes too, electric bikes. Let's wait for the traffic lights. Something that maybe you also have there at home is the traffic lights with a timer. Tells you how many seconds you have left. Look at the bike lanes. Here on the right too. The municipality. Well, in this park, we have a lot of trees and colorful flowers, things that we have gardeners in charge of watering all these plants. Remember that Lima is a desert, so we don't get much rain per year, maximum 2 inches. Here in this area, we will find a very interesting church built in the 30s, named Virgen Milagrosa. Let's take a look of the inside. I think they are doing the service now. Yes, look at the beautiful inside there. There's a Virgen Milagrosa. Beautiful architecture. Remember that most people in Peru are Catholics, about 80%. Bikers here on the right, some murals. They look like mushrooms, actually. Now, if we didn't have time to clean our shoes this morning in this park, we will have the opportunity to do it with official shoe shiners. You can see that they are wearing blue uniforms and they have an assigned seat. Let me ask the price because I didn't shoe shine my shoes today. ¿Qué tal, señor? Buenos días. Una pregunta, ¿cuánto es el precio para mis zapatos? Pero ahorita regreso porque estoy grabando un videito y de ahí regreso. Gracias. Now, it's actually very cheap. For a shoe shine, it's 3 soles, which is less than $1. And you can have a seat there and they give you a newspaper while they are cleaning your shoes. Look, more murals there on the right. People walking around, cleaning the street. There are some cats too. Well, you can see that Lima is a beautiful and safe place. there are many places to visit. If you want to see a 3,000-year-old site, we can go to Pachacamac. If you want to visit to a world-class museum, we can go to Larco Museum. And definitely, we will visit the oldest part of town that was the capital of one of the biggest colonies that Spain has for almost 300 years. So there are many options. We can go, even in this park, we can go to the Pisco Museum, to the Chocolate Museum. We can find a nice cafe, have a seat, have a long conversation, tell me about everything in your life. It's all up to you. Now I will choose a cozy restaurant to enjoy the rest of the webinar. Remember that we're waiting for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marvin. Great to hear from you there and see local life as it's happening in Lima. I think Lima is absolutely fascinating, and it's often overlooked as well as people race to get to the more well-known places like the Andes, but absolutely worthwhile including in your next trip a reasonable amount of time to take on everything that it has to offer. So if I share my screen again now, we're going to fly to our next destination, which is in northern Peru. Northern Peru is also a little bit less visited, much less visited than the popular sites of the south. And although you may choose to include it on your first trip, it also makes a very good candidate for your second trip, if you would like to explore a little bit deeper into the prehistory of Peru and learn really that it's so much more than just the Incas. So first of all, the city of Trujillo, which is a wonderful colonial city in northern Peru on near the coast. And it is most famous for its archaeological site of Chan Chan, which was the largest adobe city in the ancient world. And this is all pre-Inca history. So before the Incas rose to power, we're talking, at least 1,000 to 1,500 years ago. Also, the temples of the sun and the moon, enormous adobe pyramids there. And here you can see some of the exquisitely carved and decorated statues inside the city of Chan Chan. A little bit further north, also along the coast, is the city of Chiclayo, another wonderful colonial city. This is well known for the pre-Inca cultures of the Moche, particularly the burial tombs of what was called the Lord of Sipan, where mummified remains were found with absolutely exquisite metalwork, which has now been put into an excellent museum there. And you can see here metalwork, gold and other precious stones as well. So you can see that those societies were incredibly well developed as well. Going a little bit further into the interior, the Chachapoyas region, known as the Chachapoyas culture, were known as the Warriors of the Clouds, and they are located in the cloud forest area on the eastern slopes of the Andes, so high up in the mountains. This is Cuelap, which is a mountain fortress that was built in about the 6th century, and not very long ago they actually installed cable cars to get up there because it's so high in the mountains to make it much easier to visit. Also in this region you've got Revache, which is a mausoleum set into the side wall of canyon, and also the Gokta Falls in the middle of the cloud forest there. So really sort of under-visited and stunning scenery and cultural heritage there as well. Moving a little bit further north to the beach resort of Mancora. These are idyllic beaches on the, of course, Pacific coast of northern Peru, with white sandy beaches, charming hotels there as well. So that can make a very nice, could be a final stop, for example, in your trip around Peru if you'd like to relax on the beach at the end of your stay. And there's Marvin on a recent holiday in Mancora as well, enjoying the swimming pool. So now from there, we're going to fly down to probably the most famous part of southern Peru, which is Cusco. Cusco was the capital of the Inca Empire set up there in the mountains, as you can see, the mountain surroundings. It is at an altitude of 3,400 meters above sea level. The altitude is likely to affect you when you arrive because the air is considerably thinner than we're used to in this country, but it's absolutely manageable by taking it easy for the first couple of days, drinking plenty of water to keep hydrated, and making sure you take deep full breaths to make sure that your body is getting enough oxygen. It's absolutely manageable and nothing to be too concerned about. As I was saying, Cusco was the capital of the Inca Empire, and this here you can see is Coricancha, their temple of the sun, the temple of gold, which was really the center, their sort of religious and ceremonial center. And what you can see here in the picture on the left is actually a colonial era cathedral that was built on top of the Coricancha, on top of its foundations, but still inside it's possible to see some of the original parts, and here on the right hand side you can see some carvings and engravings explaining its ceremonial significance to the Incas. And here on the side of the Coricancha you've got the view down into the gardens and over the city as well. So, of course, upon the Spanish arrival, they set about building in their Spanish colonial style. So what you find throughout Cusco is wonderful colonial architecture with churches and cathedrals like this, wonderful fountains and squares. This, for example, is the central patio of one of the larger convents. And you find all of this built on top of the Inca foundations, as I mentioned before. So you have a really unique kind of blend of Spanish colonial with Inca heritage still visible. This is the entrance to one of the finest hotels, and you can see here the sort of remnants of the Spanish colonial style still very popular there. So a very characterful hotel options and just a very characterful city overall to visit. There we go. Here you can see some of the streets, the wonderful cobblestone streets, and again on the left-hand side you can see some of the Inca stonework foundations upon which Spanish colonial buildings were built. You still do find the modern-day descendants of the Incas throughout Cusco and the surrounding region. This lady is wearing her traditional Inca dress. Llamas and alpacas are very popular there because they're indigenous to the region, so often they're kept for both the wool and as pets. And here you can see some little girls also in their traditional dress. This, I think, taken outside of the city of Cusco. You also find incredible archaeological sites surrounding Cusco. Here you can see the ruins of a fortress called Sacsayhuaman, and see here the man on the left-hand side, how large those stone blocks are in relation to him. And you can marvel over how it was the Incas were able to both move these stone blocks and cut them so that they fit so carefully together. And these are quite extensive sites that you would walk around and perhaps spend a day visiting the different sites with one of our expert local guides. And here is a picture of that Sacsayhuaman during the festival of Inti Raymi that we've just seen a small amount of in the center of Cusco, because they are going to assemble there a little bit later. And in fact, at this point, we're going to go back to Fernando in Cusco, see what's happening there, and hear a little bit more from him also about the Inca heritage and way of life. Hello, Fernando.
Hello, Nick. How are you? Hello, everyone. My name is Fernando Chara. I'm here on the Plaza of Cusco. Right behind me, we have the cathedral. As soon as you will land to Cusco, I will meet you. I will meet you and I will take you to this beautiful plaza right behind me. Right? We'll do a city tour. The next couple of days, we will explore the Cirqa Valley, a beautiful valley close to the river. And the next day, we will go to Machu Picchu. Today is a special day. Today, we have a big celebration, the Inti Raymi, the most important celebration for the Incas, that, as you know, it was the greatest civilization in South America. The ceremony ends now in the Plaza de Armas. You can see now a lot of people. Let me turn my camera so you can see it. Right, you can see a lot of people, a lot of security as well today, because the president, the actual president of Peru, is going to come to be part of this festivity. Right, we can see those kind of idols that we use today. Right, we have like a condor here, we have a puma. A little farther, we have a snake, because each of those animals represent one of the gods for the Incas. Right, so we have the upper wall represented by the condor, this wall represented by the puma, and the upper wall represented by the underworld, sorry, represented by the snake. And you see as well like this golden disc here, right? This golden disc is pre-Inca, but we adapted. Remember, the Incas conquer other pre-Inca civilizations. Now, in the flag of Cusco, which is now in everywhere, actually, you can see the flag, which is with many colors. It's mandatory for us to place this golden disc in the middle of the flag. Here as well, in the middle of the plaza, we have the representation of the king, right? Of course, it's not made in gold, looks like, but it's not. And we have a couple idols next to me. A lot of people, which is not permitted just today. We have a lot of people, but in a normal day, we have less. This for the pandemic. We have as well, you can see a lot of police officers around. A beautiful plaza, considered as one of the most beautiful plazas in the world. We're a little high, but doesn't matter. You are not going to have any kind of problems. Here we have a lot of restaurants, we have hotels around where you can try one of the best food, not just local food. You can try international food. We have, as they mentioned before, we have a mix of food between French, Italian. You can try the famous guinea pig if you like it. We're going now to one of the most important avenues in Cusco, which is the Sol Avenue, Avenida El Sol. In this avenue, you can find everywhere. A lot of people as well there. We have, you can exchange money. We have the Justice Palace. We have hotels. We have almost everything there. As you can see, people really kind of get into the plaza now, right? This for the ceremony, I just pass here. We have a special authorization to be here in the plaza, right? Police are not permitted to stay here. And a lot of people, today is like a day off. It's like a holiday for Cusco. Nobody's working in Cusco. So they spend the time to stay with their families, to enjoy. You can see a lot of kids, right? Walking with their pets as well, with their animals. A lot of people, cars start moving. All these cars are for the Inti Raymi. They are taking people to the upper part of Cusco, to the Sacsayhuaman. Regular transportation is not allowed today, right? So we stopped basically all the Cusco for the people so they can enjoy the Inti Raymi, right? You can see these people here. Those ladies are wearing a typical hat from the north part of Peru, from Cajamarca, right? The government now are imposing to the people to use bicycles. This is why you can see these ladies with their kids wearing bicycles. Right? Today, a lot of people walking in the streets. Right? It's a nice place. For many people, consider it as a stone city, because right now we are walking through what it was the empire, the capital of the empire of the Incas. I mean, the foundation of all of these buildings are made with stones. Right? A lot of shops start to open now, just to be closed. We can see it. Just a few buses around is taking people to the north, to the upper part of Cusco, to Sacsayhuaman. We have this view, this a huge view, white building here. It's the Justice Palace of Cusco. Good. We have like a paint here, is a paint that represents how Cusco used to look like 100 or almost 150 years ago. Right. Normally, we don't have a lot of people, a lot of security, like police officers and all of that. We don't like in Cusco, but it's just for today that we have all this security. The National Bank, so you're not going to have any kind of problem exchanging your money here. You can see ladies are selling a couple things for the hats. Plenty time. Once you come here, you will have plenty time to buy souvenirs for your families, for your friends. You see the regular people working with the kids, with pets. Everybody, of course, with this biosecurity, with their mask. There's plenty safe to come to Cusco. One more time, it's not normally to see that kind of people, that many people here. Let me go a little farther. One of the prime ministers are going in this car, so you can see a lot of security. But then regular people can walk just around here. I saw actors, people, regular important people walking in the street with their family. Another bank over there. Hotels, actually, the hotels that we use are not far from the plaza, are no more than 2 blocks far from the plaza. So you can easily walk. You can see a lady wearing typical clothes there. That's how typically we dress in Cusco. So you cannot go, you don't have to walk far in Cusco. The hotel is very close to the plaza and very close to the most important places here. Hotels, flags. I'm walking now to the pedestrian street because the car's coming. A lot of people. And we are very close to the Coricancha. As you saw, I'm just walking from the plaza. And the Inti Raymi started here, right? The king is asking to his father, to the son father, for his blessed, right? For that ceremony, he is asking to many soldiers and captains for many capitals from Peru to join him and report to him what's going on in their cities. From this point, they will go. They went to the plaza. Right. Remember, Cusco was the capital of the Incas, the most important place, and the place we're going to visit now, it was the most important place, more than other ones. Okay, here we are. You can see some tourists start to come in, which is very good for us. This is the Coricancha. We are outside, of course. We can visit this place. When you come, we can visit this place from inside. Right, you can see the Coricancha over there. The lower part, Inca, the upper part, colonial, Spanish time. This place was huge, but once you will come, we will have more time to visit that. I invite you, to all of you, part of this adventure. I invite you to make your own adventure and consider to travel to Cusco, to Peru. See you soon.
That's fantastic, Fernando. Thank you very much. I think it's very, you can see both from the pictures and from what Fernando has been showing us of life on the street, how really the Inca culture still permeates the city, and you can absolutely feel that in the air and in the atmosphere around you when you visit. There is a reason why it's such a popular place in Peru to visit. We are now going to move on to our next destination in Peru, which is down to the Sacred Valley of the Incas, which is not far away, just a short car journey. I'm just going to share these slides here. The Sacred Valley of the Incas is a much more rural area. You're going out of the city now into the countryside, surrounded by farms and small towns and villages. You can see from the map here, Cusco in the bottom corner, and then the valley in green, which runs along here, which has the Urubamba River running through it, and you find along there a number of small towns and villages, but also many archaeological sites as well. This one, for example, the town of Ollantaytambo, which has an enormous archaeological site looking over it, coming down the mountainside, and you can see here from the picture the imposing mountains either side and the small characterful town nestled in the valley below. Other archaeological sites, for example, Morai, the concentric circles on the left-hand side, and the pre-Inca salt pans, Maras. The valley is a wonderful place for doing walking and outdoor activities. You might come across a small an indigenous shepherdess, like you can see there, and walking through farms and generally just enjoying the countryside and the fresh air. The Sacred Valley is at a lower altitude than Cusco, so you would instantly feel a little bit less of the effects of altitude when you go down there. Lots of lovely activities you can do, for example, horse riding. It's not uncommon to find ceramics on display in different villages throughout the valley. It's also still a center of weaving, traditional weaving. You can see here one of the descendants of the Incas using the traditional backstrap loom and still weaving by hand. And on the right-hand side, some ladies selling their wares. And here you can see actually how the yarn and wool is dyed. So they use all natural dyes and pigments that you can see on the right hand here, and then on the left how they boil to impregnate the wool and yarn with the colors, and you can go and see that happening yourself. Here you can see some of the traditional dress and traditional musician as well, playing one of the rarer Peruvian instruments, which is a harp. And here you've got a picture of a small school in one of the communities up in the mountains called Willock, and shows you that people, are wearing this traditional dress on a day-to-day basis. This is their school uniform, so it's not just a gimmick or anything for tourists. This is absolutely part of their culture that they're still living. One of our favorite hotels in the valley is called Sol y Luna, and we should be going live now to Ichiro, who is going to show us a little bit of the hotel and tell us about it. Hello, Ichiro. Are you there? Do we have?
I think we are having a little issue with Ishiro, so maybe we can come back a little bit later with him.
Okay, thanks, Berenice. We will come back later and see. The Sacred Valley called the Belmond Rio Sagrado, and you can see here some of the wonderful views and also the excellent spa that they have there. And we are hopefully going to be able to go to Valeria direct live now from the Rio Sagrado. Hello, Valeria. Do we have Valeria?
Yes, we should have Valeria.
Apologies, we had Valeria.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Hello, Valeria.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Hello, we can hear and see you.
Good morning to everybody. My name is Valeria. Welcome to Rio Sagrado at Belmond Hotel Sacred Valley. Today, such a sunny day, I want to show you a little bit of our paradise. We only have 21 rooms and 2 villas, which are complete houses, ideal for families or group of friends. In all our rooms, we have unbeatable views of the Urubamba River and the mountains, as you can see. You don't have to be on our room, so our guests can disconnect and connect more with nature and with the Pachamama. Let me show you one of our garden junior suite rooms with a private balconies, as you can see, offering sublime views to the sacred valley of the Incas. Inside, some of the largest and bright places combined with tempting alpaca fabrics and ambient design glow to evocate a sensation of serenity. Here we have a very beautiful, this is our bathroom with a very beautiful view to the mountains and at night the sky. And this is our Machu spa. Here our guests will have fresh style massage and relax with the jacuzzi in and outdoors, the steam room, and the Inca shower. That is a really cold water from our that comes from our Pumahuanca mountain. Marvel the surroundings of our Rio Sagrado and enjoy our gardens and relax in our garden refuge. We offer our guests a garden tour with Pedro, our garden expert. So he will show you and explain you all the different kind of and earth that we have here in our hotel. This is our El Huerto bar and restaurant. The garden surrounded by the stunning natural, really seasonal Andean cuisine, and served here, all the ingredients are local origin, and many of the extracted from our ecological garden. It's a really very beautiful place to see and relax and enjoy the best Peruvian food. With a very beautiful terrace, and we have a place when we offer our garden lunch outside table to enjoy the bird sound and river sound with this magical and very beautiful view. This is our Urubamba River that is all along the hotel. Here we have some pots where we come back to the Inca Empire using hot stones in a pit to simmer, marinate meat and vegetables. This is our pool. We have our outdoor temperature heated pool by solar panels. Here you can enjoy the best pisco sour with an impressive view of the Urubamba
I think we're having a little issue here.
Horseback riding, river rafting, ATV, walk through the river, and others. We really welcome you in the little paradise and have fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Valeria. Just having a little issue here with the presentation, but we're coming up back now, hopefully to the right slide. So please bear with us. So what we're going to do next, we've seen the wonderful Sacred Valley and the wonderful surroundings there. We're going to move on by train this time up to the famous Machu Picchu. Hopefully this will be, here we go, apologies. Machu Picchu, the lost citadel of the Incas as it's known, absolutely one of the highlights of everyone's trip to Peru, and for very good reason. And we're going to see a little bit more of that in a moment. But first, how do we get to Machu Picchu? Well, there are two ways to get there, either by rail or the famous Inca Trail. The Inca Trail is a 4-day trek that requires 3 nights of camping, and you can see on the map here the rough route that it takes. And for people who like walking and the outdoors, it's a wonderful experience in its own right, as well as taking you all the way to the Inca Citadel. You've got wonderful mountain landscapes there in that slightly more in the lowlands with the river, and then as you get up into the mountains, up through the high passes, you really get this stunning scenery. As you can see from the pictures here, the paths can be a little bit rocky at times, but generally fairly well made. There are some steep ups and downs in places, but as you can see, it's not just for the super fit. It's you know, perfectly doable for people who are in, let's say, reasonable shape. And as you can see, stunning landscapes and scenery there. This is an example of the mess tent where dinner would be served. You'll be attended by porters, and obviously a cook would go with you as well, so that you're well looked after, and then sleeping in tents, of course, overnight. The other, more comfortable, arguably, way to get to Machu Picchu is, of course, by the train, which I mentioned. There are several options. The train line is this crossed line that you can see here. It starts in Cusco, but also joins up in the Sacred Valley here at Ollantaytambo, and then runs along the riverside all the way to the citadel of Machu Picchu. This is the very comfortable standard train called the Vista Dome, which has very large windows for looking at the mountain landscape and the river as you go past. There is also a much more luxurious option called the Hiram Bingham, on which you have dinner served on board on your way back to Cusco. But both trains follow the river, as I mentioned, and here on the right-hand side you can see the train station as it arrives in Aguascalientes, which is the town at the base of Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, this stunning archaeological site perched on the mountainside in the high mountains of the Andes, as I said, #1 highlight for the majority of people's visits to Peru. We absolutely recommend that you go with one of our expert local guides who will take you on a tour around the complex. There's lots and lots to see and discover throughout the complex, and see the intricate stonework and how the citadel was planned and laid out. So you can see here, walking through the center. This picture on the right-hand side is a route, a walking route up the hill to what's called Inti Punku, the Gate of the Sun, and this is where people who walk the Inca Trail finally crest the mountain and would have their first view of Machu Picchu. So if you take the train to Machu Picchu, it's possible to walk from the site back up there so that you will have that similar sort of view. There is one hotel which sits on the mountainside next to Machu Picchu. All other hotels are at the town in the valley below. This hotel is called the Belmond Sanctuary Lodge, and we are going to go hopefully live to Belmond Sanctuary Lodge, where Rai should be ready to show us around the property and some of the experiences. Hello, Rai.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, from Sanctuary Lodge at Belmond Hotel. Let me just show my camera, please. Oh, so now we are transmitting. So we have a warm welcome with our shaman to Sanctuary Lodge at Belmond Hotel. So as we are a privileged location and we can appreciate the view of the Huayna Picchu Peak. Right now, I am located in one of our platforms where we perform the Andean wedding. And actually, we will have one wedding today. That is why we have flower arrangement. And let me escort you to one of our rooms. So Sanctuary Lodge are located like 20 steps from the entry to the Yacta Sagrada or the Machu Picchu archaeological site. So we have our meditation area. We have a lovely orchid garden. We will go steps down, showing you part of the orchids that we have. In our garden, we can find like 140 varieties of orchids during the year. As we are located in a protected area, Sanctuary Lodge, we don't have like a swimming pool, hot tub, but we have a massages room. Please, let me escort you now. We have a beautiful small waterfall. We have hummingbird feeders. In this area of the hotel, we can find 3 varieties of hummingbirds. Now we are arriving to our main garden. We have another fountain. And now let me show you one of our rooms. So this is a deluxe terrace room. In Sanctuary Lodge, we have 31 rooms and 6 categories. So all of our room has the full board packages. And from our room, our guests can enjoy the magic view to the mountains. As you see, we have a small patio, the terraces, and from the outer part of our room has the view directly to the Huayna Picchu Peak. Let me just turn around. So this is part of the garden. And now let me show you the corridors of the hotel. So Sanctuary Lodge are a very small property. We will go to the restaurant. As I was mentioning to you, we have a full board package. That means you have the room, dinner, breakfast and lunch included. So this is our reception area and our temple restaurant, where we do the checking-in process to all of our guests. And for sure, all of our principal meals, it's a la carte. As a free activity for all of our guests, we have a potatoes and pisco experience that we perform every afternoon at 6 o'clock, right here in our bar. For our non-guests, also, we have another restaurant that we call Tinkui. Let me just show you. So before of the pandemic, we offered a buffet option, but now today we have a special menu for all of our guests. And as you can appreciate, we are located very, very close to the main entry to Machu Picchu. So we invite to all of our clients to visit this property. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rai, coming live there from the Sanctuary Lodge Hotel, right on the doorstep, as you can see, literally, of the gates of Machu Picchu. What you can also see there is you can appreciate how lush the surrounding forest is, with the trees and the orchid garden. Not something that you necessarily pick up from the pictures, but wonderful natural surroundings there as well. And they also have birds in the gardens and things like that. So an absolutely stunning experience. We are now going to move on to Lake Titicaca. What we would do is go back from Machu Picchu to Cusco and probably stay the night there, and then move on by train again down to southern Peru and Lake Titicaca. Here you can see the map of the train journey from Cusco to Puno, which is on the shore of Lake Titicaca. It's a full day train journey going up through the Andes, wonderful landscapes, and arriving in Puno in the afternoon. It's a very comfortable train. Every seat has a table in front of it. You're served lunch. There's also an observation car and a bar at the rear of the train. So it's a real experience. It's not just a journey from A to B. It is one of the most special parts of the experience of traveling around Peru. There is, we should mention, another train which goes between Cusco and Lake Titicaca, and also with the option of connecting onwards to Arequipa, which we will talk about a little bit later. This is a much more luxurious, a sort of super luxury train, if you like, and it's a sleeper train, so you would sleep on board and arrive at Lake Titicaca the following morning. And if you're going on to Arequipa, then you make that most of that journey overnight as well, so you arrive in Arequipa the morning after that. It is a very special experience, but from our perspective, sleeping through the wonderful scenery that we'll show you for a moment loses perhaps part of the appeal of making the journey. So these are the kinds of landscapes that you would see as you go past small towns and rural farms, the high mountains, herds or groups of native llamas there, and high mountain peaks with snow caps. Taking the full day journey all the way to Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca then on the border of southern Peru with Bolivia, so the other side of the lake is Bolivia, and this is very different and special region also. You have islands on the lake, such as the floating Uros Islands, which are made out of reeds, and they use these same reeds to build the boats that they use to get around. You can see some of the native ladies here wearing their traditional dress. And it's lovely to spend the day visiting either by boats out onto the islands or around the shores of the lake to have a lovely picnic like this, for example, or to visit some of the local towns or villages where you can learn more about the Aymara culture, which is similar but also distinct to the descendants of the Incas that you would have seen in Cusco and its surroundings. So, for example, you can see the wonderful weavings, very different dress style that they have there, and learn about their way of life, very sort of rural way of life, mainly based on farming. And as you can see here, harvesting the wheat and tending the sheep. A young farmer here with a baby. And here one of the expert weavers still weaving in the traditional way on a slightly more sophisticated loom than some others have. This is you can also visit local markets, and this is very interesting to observe if you're particularly interested in modern local life, that they still barter goods for other goods. They do buy with cash money as well, but you can go and watch them and observe how they're bartering for certain amounts, certain fruit or vegetables for other vegetables or sometimes grains, and how they barter and haggle over that sort of thing. And then after you've had a long and strenuous day out, you might even have time for a short siesta in the sun. One of our favourite, in fact, our absolute favourite hotel on the shore of Lake Titicaca is called Titicaca Lodge. I was lucky enough to stay there a few years ago, and it is an absolutely stunning location with wonderful, comfortable rooms and expert services and amenities. So you can see here very sophisticated surroundings with floor-to-ceiling windows to show off their stunning panoramic view of the lake. A real mixture there of traditional decorations with more modern ones, making a very sophisticated decoration and layout. And the food there is second to none as well, using modern techniques combined with traditional ingredients, and sometimes even serving fish that might have been freshly caught from the lake. And at the end of the day, a long day of excursions, they would make a small fire there and serve sundowners your choice of drink to watch the sun go down over the lake. An absolutely magical experience that you can see Paulo here very much enjoying. And in fact, we are going to go live to Jaylin, who is at Titicaca Lodge, and she's going to show us a little of the lodge and its surroundings now. Hello, Jaylin.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Okay, so hi, my name is Jaylin. I will show you now all the property. I am one of the hosts who will receive you here when you come to the Lake Titicaca. So now we are located on a private peninsula. I will show you. Okay, so we are located in a private peninsula, only shared with the community nearby, so that it's an Aymara community. Here there is places so you can have a seat and ask for something to drink. And by this view, we can see the sun rays and hear the sunset. You can also have the sunset with a glass of wine, have drinks, and more things too. Now I will show you the dining room. Here is the dining room where you will have all your meals. So as we offer an all-inclusive service, you will delight here with the food, as we have a menu including the Indian ingredients on there. And here is a fireplace where you can just spend your time, maybe reading a book or just enjoying the view of the lake, as you can see, and in a warm and cozy place. Here you will see a sofa bed to continue appreciating the view of the lake. So laying down here, also you can ask for something to drink here. And this is our bar, where we have a variety of local wines, local cocktails, and signature drinks. And you will find a variety of pisco macerates as rocoto or moña, that is known as an Indian mint. And And right here we have a terrace that is a place, a peaceful place where you can maybe practice some meditation or yoga in the morning. And here is bed, so you can rest in here during your stay during the day, or just come here in the morning to see the sunrise outside and feel all the nature and temperature here. And downstairs we have a hot tub outside, so you can use after your excursions. And in case you want to experience to enter to the lake, there is an access to, so you can just experience the lake Titicaca. You can also do some activities as kayak, canoeing, stand-up paddle, and more things. We have 18 rooms in total. And as you mentioned, we have
Jaylene, I think you went into mute. Can you just try to unmute yourself? Sorry.
okay. That's
Perfect.
now,
Now we can
you're
hear
hearing me
you.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. So where I stop, is it fine going back to the terrace?
Just continue from where you are.
Okay, so okay, so the gift shop here you will find some blankets, cushion covers, so that are made near in a community nearby with the textiles, and some of the decoration of the hotel comes from that community too. As you can see, there are books that you can take to your rooms, and you can know more about the traditions, history, and nature in Puno too. This is Edgar. This is one of our hosts who will attend you here, and he will take good care of you when you decide to come here. Now we will go to one of our rooms. All of our rooms have the view to the lake, so all are very well equipped. So as they have mini bars, and there's another person of the staff. The people that work here use the traditional clothes from the community, so you will see them when you decide to come here. Okay, here is the
Sorry, Jaylene, I think we're losing you a little bit there. No, I think Jaylene's connection might be failing. You can see there a little of one of the rooms, which are incredibly comfortable. I can tell you from first-hand experience. I think Jaylene was near the end of her presentation anyway, so I think we will move on from her. And actually, I'm going to ask Paulo if he would like to take up and tell you about the next stage of our journey, which is the wonderful city of Arequipa. Over to you, Paulo. You're on mute.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cirqa. I don't know if it's Cirqa or the city of Arequipa, the presentation.
It's Cirqa.
You can go for it, Carla, yeah. So we're going to talk about one of our favorite hotels in Arequipa, which is Cirqa. So Carla, it's yours.
Perfect, I heard about Paula, so yeah, I wasn't sure. Welcome to Cirqa. I'm Carla, one of the hosts who will welcome you to Cirqa. And I'm going to show you around the property right now. So first of all, Cirqa is located in the heart of Arequipa, only one block from the main plaza and close to the major landmarks of the city. So I'll show you. Sorry. Perfect. Right now, we are in our lounge where you can enjoy great culinary experience distinct from the rest of Peru. And the large tables reproduce the tables of traditional Arequipa restaurants, called the picanterias. Arequipa actually is a must-visit destination for food lovers. And also, you can enjoy our outside terrace almost all year round due to the city of Arequipa offers more than 300 days of sunshine each year, as you can see. And you can also enjoy during your meal, you can enjoy these bonfires, especially at night. Hola, Belen. Belen will take care of you at the restaurant. And besides of the fine cuisine, Cirqa offers 11 rooms inside a former monastery, which dates back to the founding of the city in 1540, safeguarding the unique character of the traditional Arequipa architecture. So the building is made of the white volcanic rock called the sillar, actually known as the White City due to the use of sillar for heritage buildings. We offer 3 different categories of rooms: claustro, aposento, and bóveda. We are entering into one of our bóveda room. And as you can see, every detail has been carefully selected. The name bóveda is due to its vault. And if you were here, you could smell the fresh aroma of muña that characterized each room. And the muña is a local plant. So let's continue. And also all our property looks like the perfect combination between the traditional Arequipa architecture and the modern design. So let's continue with our heated plunge pool. It's the perfect place where you can relax yourself. We have also a massage room. Here you can restore your physical, mental, and emotional balance, especially after some excursions. Actually, Cirqa also offers a large variety of short, half-day, and full-day excursions in and around Arequipa. Here is another of our rooms, the aposento one. And Cirqa also offers private transfer from Arequipa to Colca Canyon and Lake Titicaca as well. All our excursions are guided by a local friend who will show you the essence of Arequipa culture and the local genuine spirit. Perfect. So, perfect. And last but not least, next month we'll launch our rooftop where you could enjoy amazing sunset while drinking delicious pisco sour. And it was a pleasure showing you around the property today. We look forward to welcoming you to Cirqa soon, hoping that during your stay, you'll feel like home. So thanks, bye.
Thank you, Carla. Wonderful, wonderful hotel, Cirqa. It's that combination of style and traditional. I'm going to just go through these slides here so that we catch up with Cirqa. To show you a little bit of Arequipa. All right, let's just get the technical details right. That style of converting colonial buildings where you mix the modern with the traditional is wonderful. So that's why we actually chose that particular hotel, the Cirqa, because it just has that perfect style of being modern with roots in the traditional, which is very much our, how can I say, sort of our favorite style of hotel, and it goes well with this feeling of that you are in the country, the local culture, and the style of Arequipa, which is an old colonial town with famous main square, as they all have, the Plaza de Armas, in this case with fountain and the stylish buildings. And in this particular case, they also have this convent, which is very special, was for Spanish ladies who went to the convent and brought with them their social status. So they would go to the convent with their servants and their social status, but it has a wonderful character. And as Carla mentioned there, from Arequipa, one of the most interesting trips to do is to go to the Colca Canyon. And the Colca Canyon, the journey itself is fascinating through the mountains. And one of the main attractions is actually to see the condors as they ride up these warm air streams from the valley to the top. But it's more than just the condors. You have a local culture, the people wearing traditional clothes in some cases, and a wonderful landscape here over the canyon with the terraces. You can walk down to the bottom of the canyon, and then get when you get to the bottom, enjoy a nice warm swim. And here we saw Cirqa, as I mentioned, that we saw it live. This is just to reinforce the wonderful style and character that we've already seen. And from there, we will go to the Amazon. Now, the Amazon is something so unique for the density of the tree canopy, the forest. Peru has some areas of pristine rainforest. I find fascinating because it's nothing like we have in Europe for the intensity of the forest. And one of the main interests for me, or I've been to many of the areas in the Amazon, is that when you are under the trees of pristine rainforest, you cannot see light. You have no points of reference. You cannot see the sky because it's just so dense. We are going to a lodge called the Tambopata Research Center, TRC, which is particularly special because it's very near a kolpa. Now, kolpa is an area of a little hill that is being eroded by the river, and the macaws congregate there early in the morning to eat or suck or taste the earth for minerals and particularly salt that they need for the digestion. So now, if we can connect with the Tambopata Research Center in the Amazon, very far away from anywhere, come in now.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Rocío Guzmán. I have my friends at Tambopata Research Center right now that are going to turn on their camera. So we will just wait for them.
Camera needs to be on.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Great. I don't know if you can please pin our screen. Excellent. Excellent. Good morning again, everyone from Peru. It's morning here in Peru, and we are just transmitting live from the Tambopata Research Center. If you are all looking for an authentic nature experience, this is your place. My name is Rocío Guzmán from Rainforest Expeditions, and today I'm happy to show you Tambopata Research Center at a glance with the help of my friends there. First, they will show us a little bit of the common areas. Here we are right now where the hammocks areas are, and you will see that all the lodge is quite open to the forest because our main objective is that you will maximize your experience with the rainforest. No? So this is here the gardens. All our lodge have forest view. And so you can find places where you can sit, read a book, drink a coffee. While you maybe are enjoying the hammocks area, you might be able also to see some wildlife from the open windows that we have. No? To the left, we have the superior rooms. Those are very small and cozy, comfortable rooms. We are not able to open right now one because they are with guests right now, but now we are going to continue to the main restaurant. All our lodge is connected through bridges that are over the ground for almost a meter and a half. So there you will see the restaurant, which is also open to the forest. The Tambopata Research Center started as a research center 30 years ago with an ongoing Maco project. And at the beginning, we helped in the 1998, we helped raise some of the first Macos. And those Macos sometimes arrive into your meal times just to visit and to say hello. So we will continue now to the lobby bar. Old Tambopata Research Center is a cozy eco lodge with only 24 rooms. As you will see, the lodge, as I already showed you and you can see everywhere, has no walls. And the reason of this is to maximize the connection of all your senses with nature. Next to the restaurant, as I mentioned, we have here the lobby bar. And here is also your meeting point for all these activities and excursions that we have for you. And the new wing of rooms, to connect the new wing of rooms, we have a 30 meters rainforest walkway, elevated high from the ground, elevated 3 meters high from the ground. This gunway is the perfect place for wildlife encounters every time you get to your room. As sometimes you are going to be able to see wildlife in the top of the trees and wildlife watching, you will be able to watch the wildlife in the ground too. No? Now my friend Adrian, who is a field researcher there, is going to share with us a drone view of the lodge, letting you see where the lodge is located. Adrian, if you can please share your screen.
Yeah, sure. I will do it right now, but I need the permission to share my screen, please.
One second, let me see how we do that.
Maybe Berenice or...
Try now?
Okay, now you can do it, Adrian.
Okay, let's see. It says that only the host can share the screen right now.
I've made you co-host, so you should be able to do it.
No, it's still appearing that only the host can do it.
Okay, now
I don't know why.
I think the one.
Amazon.
Yes, it's Wired Amazon.
Wired Amazon is the.
Sorry? Wired Amazon. Oh, right. Sorry. I was making him.
Yeah.
We need Wired Amazon.
Yes, please.
Actually, oh no, wait a second. I've made Adrian host. Wired Amazon.
And I was Amazon QRC and Wired Amazon.
Maybe Adrian, as a co-host, you can make Wired Amazon.
As a co-host, you can make Wired Amazon host. We're attempting, I'm sorry for this technical, I did warn in the beginning, but we're attempting something here to fly over the Amazon at the TRC. You will see later on the map that it's very far away from anywhere. So, yeah, so how do we make wired Amazon? Let me see.
No, I cannot.
No.
I don't find the.
No.
Sorry, who is connected as Adrian Avellaneda Vergara? Because that person is the host.
That was the person that was walking.
Right.
To show the.
We need them to make Wired Amazon the host. Are they available?
Ah, okay. Let me see.
Adrian Avellaneda, come in, please. And make Wired Amazon the host. It's the camera. We need the camera on the drone.
We're working on that, but when you see, if you can pin Wired Amazon screen, you might see also some part of our lodge live on the ground.
If I disconnect. No.
Okay.
Here is the entrance of the Tambopata Research Center. This is the point for every excursions and activities that you will do here.
Okay. Now I can.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We need Adrian to remove himself from host, otherwise we can't carry on afterwards.
Okay, I will do it.
Now Adrian is going to share with us the bird view from the sky.
I've been to the Tambopata Research Center many years ago, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the Amazon and the river from above. It's quite a unique experience that we left to the end to see if that would work as a highlight. And as you can see, we have a few little details to get right, but it's going to be quite an amazing experience to see the forest. Wow, there we are. Carry on.
There we are. Yes, this is the Tambopata Research Center. And here, as I mentioned, we started 30 years ago as an investigation base that brought important scientific information to the Tambopata National Reserve in Peru. This place is considered one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, and now is home of Wired Amazon, our ongoing program of unique scientific research where everyone can be part of without a scientific background. Here you can become a citizen scientist. No? Here, in the most remote lodge in South America, you can make a positive impact through your visit, having the chance to get amazing wildlife encounter opportunities, like last week, one of our family groups, during their sunset cruise activity, they saw a jaguar on the island in front of the lodge. The Tambopata Research Center is the only lodge inside of this vast and amazing Tambopata National Reserve, and it's the macaws paradise. Every day, you will wake up here with hundreds of macaws, parrots, and parakeets. Here also, you will have over a dozen of activities and excursions that are included in your experience and that you can choose from, letting you have a personal experience. Activities and excursions here are committed for deep exploration and wildlife encounters in this vast and dense rainforest. Adrian, are you able, please, to show us a little bit of the river?
Yeah, sure.
That is the new wings of rooms, which are deep in the forest, connected 300 meters away from the main lobby. So here you will not find any sound of the dining room or the bar. It is just the sounds of the Amazon. And there is the Tambopata River. As mentioned, this is a great opportunity to connect yourself again in nature, and we will be very, very happy to welcome you here. Now we can see that the rain is coming.
Yeah, that's it. That's normal. And it's such a huge catchment area for the rain that it may be raining somewhere else, but not necessarily going to rain at the lodge.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes you have a huge storm in Puerto Maldonado City, but a sunny day in Tambopata Resource Center.
And what is interesting about the rain here, is that all this water is going from the foothill of the Andes through to Brazil and is going to end up in the Atlantic. So this is a hugely long journey to the mouth of the Amazon in Brazil.
And when you go over to Tambopata Research Center, you will see how the landscape is going to change from trees all around, and then by the horizon, you will see how the mountains start to come out.
That's true. I remember that when the cloud is a bit clearer, when you look west, you see just in the haze of the horizon, the foothills of the Andes, two lines of the foothills of the Andes, and it's green like this, dense tree canopy. At night, when you go in the forest, you cannot see anything. You can have your hand next to your nose and you would not see it. It's totally, totally dark because the tree canopy is just so dense and impenetrable.
Yes, that's true. And as you can see with the drone view, you will see that there is nobody around. So it is just you and the Amazon, just you and nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
This is the Amazon rainforest in Peru, in Tambopata, southeast of Peru. We will be very happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So
thank you, Rocio and Adrienne, for giving us that amazing perspective over the Amazon. And you can see there just how remote and removed from all civilization you are when you go there. So it's really a once in a lifetime natural experience to be able to visit. So we're going to move on to some of the other experiences you can also have in the Amazon. May seem to pale in comparison after we've been up in the air on a drone. But it is also possible to visit the Amazon by cruises on small riverboats, which are very comfortable. And what they do is they cruise up and down the river. These are on a river in the north of Peru, and you go off in smaller boats and skiffs to visit the national park and rainforest on morning and afternoon excursions each day. The Delphin 3 is a very good standard of boat and very comfortable indeed. And the new Aqua Nera will be a state-of-the-art luxury vessel also operating in the same area. So for those who would like to be surrounded by comfort and luxury with floor-to-ceiling windows on their cabins and top-level cuisine served for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then those are also options that you might like to consider. Which brings us to the end of our tour of Peru. But there is time just to tell you about a few of our suggested itineraries. We have a number of suggested itineraries that you can see on our website, veloso.com. And it's worth mentioning, for example, if you wanted to go away for 10 nights, the Pucara tour will take you to the most important places in southern Peru. 14 nights will give you a little bit more of an experience of southern Peru, Arequipa and the Colca Canyon. The Pacaya tour includes an Amazon cruise on one of the boats that I just mentioned, while the Wari tour goes to the northern Peruvian areas that we highlighted at the beginning of the session. The Quechua tour includes Peru but combines with Bolivia. The Libertador tour combines Peru with Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands. Really, you can see in many ways all roads lead to Peru because Peru can be combined with so many different countries. Our Viracocha tour is a cross-continent tour starting in Brazil, moving down to Argentina and up to Bolivia and Peru. And the Osorno tour goes even further down into southern Argentina and Chile before finishing in Peru. All of these appear on our website, as I said, and what you can find also on our website is a download tool by which you can select your itinerary and then enter your preferred starting date in the box that you see here. And then if you click download itinerary, that will automatically download a PDF itinerary with pictures and maps and an outline of what you will be doing each day and show you the days that you will be in each place based on your chosen start date. And this is really a good way for you to start experimenting with, thinking about how long you might like to be away and looking at what the itinerary would include. And this is a first step that you can take on your own on our website before contacting us for a full quotation and guaranteed price. So that is the end of our webinar. I appreciate we have talked for a little bit longer than perhaps expected, but it just goes to show the wealth of experiences and culture and different kinds of activities that are on offer in Peru, and so many different reasons to visit and make it your next trip to South America. So I'd like to now ask Bernice if we had any questions from anyone, or if any of the participants would like to put up their hand and have any questions about anything we've covered.
So we do have one question. When do you think we will realistically be able to travel to Peru?
Well, to be honest, Peru, as we can see, is open, and so it'll be up to the UK government to decide that. I really don't know.
Unfortunately, the UK government at the moment are even less, easy to predict than perhaps in other times. So, but as you can see from all of the live views, as Paolo mentioned, people are out and about on the streets. There are some tourists there, if maybe not as many as in the past. So we can only hope and wait. But as Paolo mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we're happy to prepare proposals for your trip to Peru and even take pre-registration booking with nothing payable until Peru gets the green light from the British government, not even a deposit. So we're happy to do that for you as well.
We have a second question as well. What is the COVID and vaccination position in Peru?
As I understand it, actually, they don't need anything to enter. They're not. Although actually, this is a general. But we mentioned that we wouldn't really necessarily go in too much into COVID because the situation is changing. It's more a question of asking when would you like to go? I mean, would you like to go next week or next month, or gradually with the vaccination? This will evolve. The situation will change in the UK and in Peru. So to answer that question, we would need to know when is a person going to want to go. But as I mentioned, the Inca Trail is opening in July, and beginning of July, and Machu Picchu is open. Everything is open. As you can see, many people are wearing the masks. The masks are mandatory. But that may also change in the next month, 2 months, 3 months. So Peru is progressing with the vaccinations, and so are we here. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see until we know the dates when to travel.
I think, Paolo, it was more how Peru is progressing with vaccination. So maybe we can ask Marvin or anyone.
Marvin is there. He can tell us, maybe. Marvin, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the vaccinations, how Peru is progressing with vaccination?
Yes, right now at the moment we're doing excellent. Actually, in South America, #1. In progress is Chile. #2 right now is Peru. Okay. Good news, as you said, the Inca Trail is opening soon. Machu Picchu too. Lima has now a few hours of curfew, basically at night. We had it since the afternoon, but now it's getting better. We have less infected people every week, so everything is going great in my opinion.
Excellent, thank you, Marvin. We also have a question asking about airlines, which we touched on at the start. So British Airways stopped the flights to Lima, and it's not likely to restart them because they hadn't been operating for long. But we have flights every day with Iberia via Madrid, Air France via Paris, KLM via Amsterdam. And these offer also flights from UK regional airports. So you don't have to come to London. You could fly from Manchester or Bristol to Amsterdam, or Air France to Paris, or from London via Madrid. So, and then directly non-stop to Peru. So there are flights every day, and there's a lot of availability. In terms of tie-ups, we have special fares with all the airlines. Depends on the availability. Obviously, now I would say in 2021, towards maybe the second half, there will be more availability and therefore lower prices. And then later on in 2022, as there are more people flying, perhaps the prices will go up. But we have special rates with all the airlines flying to Peru.
Okay, we have another question as well. What is the best time of the year to visit Peru?
And well, I would say that the best time, Peru you can travel all year round to Peru. There's a colder time of the year in July, August, and a bit of a rainy season in January, February. But when asked what's the best time, I would say mid-season. So October, November is when they start plowing the fields, and then in April, May is harvest time. So perhaps March, April, May is the best time, but maybe Marvin has a different view, or Rocio, would you like to tell us what you think is the best time to go to Peru?
Sure.
What do you think, Rocio?
Actually, you can visit, in the case of the Amazon, you can visit all year round, as you already mentioned. Of course, we have rainy season, and from November through March, and the when we expect the most rains are January and February. No? So you have the rest of the year. Of course, you are going to expect some rain because it's the rainy season, but dry season comes more from May to June, October. For me, the best season for travel are the middles of the season, no? Like October, November, or March, April, and May, because dry season can become pretty dry in the Amazon. In the coast, you can get from July, August is more or less, you are going to find a very cloudy Lima, no? But it's possible to visit. I mean, for us, it's cloudy and maybe freezing, but for you, it's like summer, no? And so I will suggest these changes of the season, no? March or April, no?
Yeah, mid-season, that's right, would be the best, but you can go all year round. And it depends also to a great extent, as Rocio was saying, the regions, because as we saw, you have desert on the coast, the mountains, and the Amazon. The Amazon you can go all year round because it's the rainforest, so you'd expect rain, but it doesn't always rain where you are, as we saw in those aerial images from the drone, where it was going to rain a bit further away and not necessarily at the lodge. Any other questions?
No, from the chats.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for staying with us. It was a bit longer than we might have expected, but everyone has done a great job, a great contribution, and technically it worked very well, considering we had that little delay from connecting to the Amazon, but it was very ambitious. A drone over the Amazon is ambitious. So Nick, I think that's it for now. If you have anything else to say.
No, just to say thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We hope you've found it interesting and inspiring, and we hope that we're able to organize some trips for you to visit Peru very soon.
Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for everyone in Peru for being so amazing in your connections.
Yes, thank you to our partners in Peru, of course, for showing the real life on the ground.
Yeah, well, we did cover a lot of ground. So thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you and goodbye.